Howdy folks, this is going to be a commentary track for the WAD Glaive 2 by EANB, or also known as EANB. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is Glaive 2 and did a video on Glaive 1. Glaive 2 is a lot different and, it's more of a hell theme than the first one. So I recorded this demo on March 5th, 2024, so I'm recording this commentary in June, so it's a little later. But still. Anyway, with that, let's start watching this here. This first map is, kind of introduces the concept of Glaive 2. We are no longer in tech bases. We're kind of in a hell world, and instead of having the classic green marble, we have this gray recolored marble, which, I'm a huge fan of recolors, because it keeps the original Doom aesthetic intact, but it also switches it up a little bit. And this first Archvile here is pretty annoying. I did end up getting really fucked by these Revenants, and then I shot myself. And now, you could argue, hey, I'm only 30 seconds in, I should reset here. But for me, when I do a movie attempt, unless I'm trying to specifically beat a record and I need to reset for time allotment, I'll usually just go until I die. Because for me, like the concept, that chain gunner really could have killed me. I really love having like low health moments and stuff like that. I try not to reset unless I absolutely need to. And in this case, the previous record was about 35 minutes by Maribo. And after doing all of the individual level maxes, I kind of decided I had a lot of fluff room. So, the first exit would probably be the one to win. But I think the final time here ends up being like around 30 minutes and 30 something seconds. We'll see when we get there. Right here, if you, there is a trigger on one of these steps. I never actually figured out which one it was, so I started shooting a little early before the Archvile spawned in. But either way, it's a nice cage that you can weaponize for splash damage, which is always enjoyable. I really like those vine windows at the top. If you, I'll just rewind here. Those, like, vine windows in the distance, they look really nice. This Archvile can be a little bit of a bitch. Sometimes, they'll get into like that weird crevice there where you can't actually shoot them without having to risk getting too close, and then you have to deal with splash damage. But I got reasonably lucky there, which really is good because I got unlucky with everything else in this level, so I'll take it. And that's level 1. This level here, I immediately fucked it up in the worst way imaginable by failing the first platform. It's not even really, I wouldn't even really call that platforming. In the sense that, a lot of the times, if you think of platforming in Doom, you think of like hard lineups and like stuff like that. But that's just like, that's not even platforming. That's just me failing at life. This section here is pretty rough. You can squeeze past the Manx here if you really want to, but I didn't feel like dying, so I tried a little bit of a different strategy and failed immediately, so I kind of ended up making this look a lot worse than it should be. One of my favorite kind of traps in Doom is when, you're walking through a tight space and like an enemy spawns behind you, possibly also in front of you, kind of boxing you in. But I like how there's an Archvile there that teleports in and kind of chases you around. I like this spiral staircase, though. I did fall off a couple of times. It's not really a hard encounter, but sometimes when you're trying to go really quickly, sometimes an enemy can kind of give you that infinitely tall kind of, thing that kind of disorients your movement and then you fall off. But that did not happen here. Here's the first plasma gun. Really, I should not have used the plasma gun like I did there, but I did anyway. Cells are kind of hard to come by, and, typically I like saving them for emergencies, like if you get really boxed in switch to the plasma, either BFG or plasma gun. There's another secret there too. I usually like to reserve those for like the oh shit I'm fucked moments. But you know what? It's not that bad. That chain gunner kind of confused me because usually there's no chain gunners there. I don't really even know how that guy got there. I love the impaled guys on the ledges, you know, that are silhouetted, but I think it has like either it has that glow so that they kind of unsilhouette, or it's just the shooting that does that. I think it's just the shooting, but either way, it's a nice touch on detail. This section here, again, you could use rockets to speed it up, but in movies, I typically, when it comes to movie runs, I don't even know how I got hit by that, but when it comes to movie runs, the shotgun, the super shotgun, and the rocket launcher are really kind of equivalent in that the sense that they kind of do a similar amount of damage. It's just that the shotgun is safer and slower. So a lot of the times in movies, I'll use the super shotgun in areas where in a map demo, I would use the rocket launcher, just because I'm trying not to kill myself and I like to save the rockets for the big beefier encounters. And again, the other thing is also that rockets do splash damage. So if I'm fighting an individual guy by themselves, I'm more likely to use rockets in a map demo just for speed, but I'm less likely to use rockets in a movie demo just to save them for other areas, and just because, you know, I don't want to necessarily kill myself by shooting the wall. And then, you know, sometimes you get really low damage roll rockets and you shoot a Hell Knight 3 times and they don't die, right? So then you run into them because you expect them to die, and then they're not dead, and then muscle memory makes you shoot and then that can kill yourself. So, you know. When I recorded this demo, I believe I learned all the levels in like one day or something. So when I recorded the movie run for this, I was still not particularly well versed on the maps yet. A lot of the times, just to be honest with you, a lot of the times when I do individual map runs, I'm usually really high when I do that. You know, I love marijuana, huge fan. And so sometimes when I try the movie, like a couple days later, I kind of forget some of the layout. Like, yeah, sure, I got the record on every level, but was I really even lucid during that time period? So here I kind of, you know, should have killed that Archvile a little bit earlier, but I didn't really process the ramifications of not doing that. And so we see kind of like a really awkward situation where this Mank has just gotten resurrected a couple times, just eating all my rockets for no goddamn reason. There's one guy missing, which is really unfortunate. So I have to, like, turn around and actually look for them. Let's just not rewind, fast forward here. Yep, it's that fucking guy. It's always something stupid. And that's map 2. As you can see, if you watched the Glaive 1 run, Glaive 2, I mean, really, it's kind of like a Megawad, but released in individual chunks, you know? It's just, this is a different episodic theme. It's a little bit... the mapping philosophy is a little different, but it's, you know, you can tell it's the same author. This section here can be kind of scary, too, because some of the specters, you know, sometimes it's hard to see the specters. I play on low resolution, which makes the specters a lot more visible, but if you play at 1080p, they're a lot harder to see. So there's a reason why I play at low resolution. It's not just because it's the best way to play from a visual perspective, which it is, but it also makes specters easier to see. But again, like, the difficulty here versus Glaive 1 is definitely a lot harder than Glaive 1. So, like, I think every map in Glaive 2, you could realistically get killed on every map. Whereas in Glaive 1, there's most of the levels is kind of just impossible to die in because they're too easy. This section can be a little tricky. I shouldn't have brought out the rocket launcher so early, but either way, they kind of got in here, and now I'm dealing with the resurrection of the chain gunner. It's a huge problem here. I'm missing with the shotgun. Really embarrassing. So again, if anyone wants to beat this, you have my blessing. Like I've said before, part of the reason why I do speedruns and do commentaries on them is because I do want to motivate people to try it themselves, you know? A lot of people consider speedrunning to be some impossible task that takes so much time and effort, and it's like it takes years of training. And I'm here to tell you that's true in a sense, but also not true. Like, if you play Doom casually and you have for a long time, you can very easily transition to speedrunning, and it's not difficult at all. This section here can be a little bit tricky because of the Archvile, and sometimes the Archvile resurrects some of these Cacos that die, which can be a little frustrating, but I didn't have to really deal with that because the Cacos, if you kill them, you know, with the rocket launcher, there's a good chance they'll bounce back, and they could bounce back, like that just happened here, over the wall that they're on here, and then the Archvile can resurrect them, which just happened here. But I was trying to like kind of pace the rockets so that as many of them would die on the wall and not on the other side of the wall as possible. So I only had one Caco misfire there, so pretty decent. One thing I like about Glaive and Glaive 2 is it uses a lot of stock IWAD music, which I'm a huge fan of. This Archvile can be tricky, but the steps kind of make them get stuck up there, so it's not a huge danger as long as you can kind of get out of the way. Right here, I'm just kind of shooting wildly, just in case there's a Spectre, and I would hear like the Spectre get damaged or something, but it seems that that was not the case here. There's just a shitload of cells, so I'm just trying to use a little bit. There's a couple Archviles here. I really don't know how I let that happen. And then there's a bunch of Imps and a Cyber Demon. So ideally you want to kind of get them all in one location so that the Cyber Demon attacks you and kills a bunch of the guys. And while you're either firing on the Cyber Demon or trying to take out some of the Archviles or something. But as you can see, there's a lot of cells. So I'm trying to just mainline the plasma gun here, and I'll restock afterward. You may also hear Max the dog screaming in the background. I think the mail delivery is here, so... I always love to finish off Cyber Demons with one shotgun blast, you know? Because it's kind of like I keep track of their health in my head. So, you know, it's always kind of fun to kind of flex a little bit. Switch to the shotgun, kill them with the one shot, you know? I did time it correctly. Now, there's one guy missing here, which is a huge problem. That's a big problem with this whole demo, really, is that there's just a lot of missing monsters. So, again, I think you could probably improve. I'm trying really hard not to have to, like, jump down there, so, because then it requires me going all the way the fuck back around. So, fortunately, they did kind of walk over, and I was able to kill them without doing the loop-de-loop, but still, that's a huge improvement you could make in this. I think you could probably get, like, 26 minutes for Glaive 2. If you really kind of spruced up the route and didn't miss any monsters throughout the whole thing. So, and for reference, again, this is about a 30-minute run here. I like this level a lot. It's like a really interesting aesthetic with a lot of like weird like wood textures, and then also just like the kind of tan tech pipe kind of textures as well. This level is pretty rough. I definitely would say that dying here is extremely possible. There's two Cyber Demons as well, and they're kind of like a mess to actually kill. And they can be really problematic, and there's all these Arachnotrons. This is a hard level, I will say that. This is a hard map, for sure. But there's also a lot of cells. I don't think there's a BFG, though, so it's like you have to actually use the plasma gun, so... When it comes to plasma versus rockets, a lot of the time rockets, especially if it's not a Cyber Demon, and, you know, you can use splash damage, because Cyber Demons are immune to splash damage if you didn't know. But if, like, you know, these crowds of Cacos, you know, a BFG would be ideal. But compared to the plasma gun, you know, the rocket launcher is better. So in order of priority, which would be better to deal with these Cacos, it would be BFG, then rockets, then plasma. However, I'm using the plasma anyway. So you might be asking why. And the answer is because there's a lot of extra cell ammo and there's not that much extra rocket ammo. So I'm trying to kind of weaken them a little bit with the plasma. And then here I'm trying to just use the rocket launcher because I think I fell down on accident. I'm not actually sure. I'm pretty sure it was an accident. And so I kind of just, you know, had to claw my way out and using the plasma here because, again, the rockets do splash damage. So using the plasma would have taken way too long. And then here's a good chance to use rockets as well. Actually, I do think I think in the route I come down here on purpose at some point, but I'm not sure if it was intentional at this point in the run. I may have fallen down on accident at this point, but either way, again, there's a lot of plasma, so I do want to use plasma, even though rockets are better in a lot of instances, just because there's like an abundance of ammo for it. So. And then you got these two cyber demons here that you just have to kind of take down with the plasma. And there's multiple areas you can shoot them from. This section is one of the safest, but it also has like a really thin, like the walls are really thin here in the sense that they're it's a thin hallway, right? So it's like actually, you know, when the cyber demon moves around and then you have horizontal auto aim, you can kind of end up hitting the walls a lot. But then here, there's a bunch of Kako corpses, right? And then both of the cyber demons can shoot at you at the same time in this setup. So it's a little more dangerous, especially with the Kako corpses, but I'm kind of doing it anyway. There's also a megasphere there that I'm pretty sure I forgot about, but I stumbled upon because of the Kako corpses. Some of these walls here you can do a wall run on just to speed it up a little bit. I'm a huge fan of wall runs. It's just cool, dude. I don't know what else to say. It's just cool. This level here is pretty rough. Those two archviles, if you're unlucky, they can follow you to the point where like hiding in this little corner by the stairs isn't gonna cut it, but I got lucky here, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I've definitely died here before, just those archviles sometimes. You can also just kind of hide behind these walls here and kind of take them out from this section, the other side where you spawn on. But that's like really sloppy, and you know, I'd rather be sloppy on accident than sloppy on purpose. So it's my general like philosophy. There's a lot of guys here. You can leave them alive and hope that they get killed via infighting. But once again, I'm kind of taking that movie approach where it's safety first. Because these guys can be really frustrating if you leave them alive. Because they'll, you know, the demons will just run after you. And sometimes, you know, they can get in spots where you really just want to be able to move quickly through an area. And you can get blocked up pretty easily. So just trying to kill them ahead of time. I like this level a lot because it has a lot of the, like, Doom Episode 3 and Episode 4 themes kind of meshed together where there's a lot of, like, the weird snake skin bullshit, but then there's a lot of wood. There's a secret there, too, which is fun. I like that secret. It's a really cool one. Right here, I'm trying to, like, not, walk into this hallway because then that activates some enemies. So I'm trying to kill some guys first. It's not really necessary, but, you know, an abundance of caution, especially because now we're in the second half of the WAD. So, and although I think there's less levels total in Glaive 2 versus Glaive 1, I'm leaving a lot of cells behind there, which is unfortunate, but there is a BFG coming up. There are a lot less levels in Glaive 2 than Glaive 1, but the levels generally are longer, so. Right here, this is a pretty... Just watch this whole situation. Check this out. A lot of tight corridors here. Teleporting in monsters. It's kind of scary to use the rocket launcher because sometimes one straggler teleports in late and then you shoot yourself in the face the moment they teleport in, so. Then you got the double archvile, which is pretty fucking scary. 14%. But it's okay. There's a Mega Sphere right there. But yep, I was panicking. And this is what I mean by saving cells for, like, the oh shit moments. Like, having cells there was really helpful because, like, you know, I was one accidental rocket and I could have accidentally shot and killed myself. So there is a secret there that I kind of failed to trigger because I forgot where it was. Don't worry about that. I'll get it. Don't worry. I'll get it. It's in this stairway here. Yep, there it is. Sometimes, again, when I'm going through something, I have to, like, see it a little bit. And then, like, just, it'll come to me, you know, like, oh, right there, there's the secret. After I just kind of, like, swim in the area a little bit. There is a BFG over there, so I'm trying to take out some of these guys a little more methodically, but it ended up, like, kind of feeling really slow, so I just ran over to get the BFG once the coast was clear enough. There's some Cyber Demons over there. I think there's one, maybe two. I don't remember. And they can really shoot you from a distance, so you got to be careful for that. And then I ran all the way away, and I got hit anyway by a rocket. Truly a disaster watching this. But again, you should try it at home, kiddos. But the other thing about the Cyber Demon is that they can shoot these Revenants as well and get a little infighting. So when that's the case, you can also kind of rush over there, and while they're infighting, kind of sneak up behind them and get some BFG pop-offs in, but I did not do that here. So right here, I'm doing extraordinarily sloppy BFG shots. Like, my goal is to survive, and then these chain gunners are really making that goal a little bit difficult to achieve. Truly horrendous. I'm not going to lie to you. Truly horrendous from a speed perspective. But from a safety perspective, also pretty horrible, because I have 30 health exiting that encounter. And I really did not do anything to deserve losing so much health. There is like a bunch of, there are a bunch of cells back in that other section that I mentioned earlier. But I think I forgot that they were there by this point. I'm not sure. And I exit anyway, so unfortunate. But, you know, again, this is a sloppy run. And a lot of the times, I'm only really aiming to beat the record. And in this case, the record was 35 minutes, and I got 30 minutes. So really sloppy, but definitely... it could be worse, you know. I just want to look at this SSG shot. Look at this. I mean, explain how that's even possible, because I surely don't know. With this level is another level where you can kind of do like a UV speed type of route and kind of just run through the level really quickly and kind of let these guys just stew and kill each other for a while. But again, that kind of ends up with you getting shot at from across the map in unpredictable ways, and I didn't feel like dealing with that, so I took the safe approach here. I like this open-ended kind of room here. It kind of reminds me of some later Plutonia levels. I really like it. Then you have this nice big Spectre ambush, which I'm a huge fan of. I love simultaneous teleports, where there's a bunch of teleports that kind of open all at once. That's really, you know, from someone who makes levels, it's kind of annoying to set those up because there's a lot of, like, you know, click this and change this, click this and change this over and over again, like busy work kind of stuff, but it always looks really cool, so. Gotta make sure there's none left behind here. Once again, like, you know, if you were to run ahead of and activate all these guys, like, they could fight with some of the imps, possibly some Hell Knights, this Revenant Horde. But instead, I'm just deciding to take it the slowly but surely route. Those torches, I forgot. I thought that there was a Spectre there, but no, those torches also. Infinite heighted me. Almost dying here. I'm taking a lot of really bad shots for no reason, so... Now I'm in the safety mode, trying really hard not to die. There is a soul sphere back here, so I'm just rushing to it. Should have got that health kit first, but I had one thing in my mind. Horrible aim. It really is. It's a little tough to watch. There's another like loop on the edge, on the ledge secret here, which I'm a fan of those. There was one in the previous level. I have like, I'm overstocked on cells, so I gotta come back there later to pick stuff up. I like these cracks in the ceiling there, you know, gotta spruce up the ceiling a little bit. Not the best Spider Mastermind section, but, you know, got the job done. I had no idea how that guy had full health, but they did. Again, there's just an abundance of cellular munitions here, and I really should have been using the BFG a lot more. But again, in a movie run, I try to save the BFG ammo for oh shit moments. So when I'm playing a level set that has like a lot of cells, like sometimes I just forget, you know, like, oh, I can just use cells a lot more willy-nilly here than I would otherwise. You can get stuck in this section if you fall off these ledges here. I'm pretty sure it's game over. I think this is an inescapable pit, so you got to be careful. And then you have archviles that spawn where the Mank corpses are. I think sometimes they could resurrect the Mank corpses, but I don't think it's very... Like, the Mancubus needs to, like, die in the corner of the pillar. Oh, man, I'm getting fucked here. Like, in very specific circumstances, because there's not that much space on those cubes where the Manks and the Archies were, so... Didn't have to deal with that here. And I love this section here. I love just like using a shitload of high tier monsters, but like there's no pressure whatsoever. This is like, yeah, you just, you know, point, shoot, and then you try again. And then, you know, it's very easy to dodge, but it's just kind of fun, you know, to kill a bunch of high tier monsters in an easy way. So now here I'm just going back to collect some of the cells I missed, which is a lot less than I thought it was, but still enough to make it worth it. Coming up, I think, is the last level here. Which is level 7. This level is hard. There's a couple sections here where if you just get brutally unlucky, it can pretty much be game over. And right here, I kind of tried to do a strat at the start where I kind of swoop behind the Revenant Horde, but it failed tremendously. So then I panicked. And now I'm just shooting the BFG randomly, just hoping I don't die. Just the point where I run out of shots here, so. These Manks, when you kill them, there's a couple, like, kind of, charges, if you will. Like, you know, more Manks will spawn in. So, like, sometimes, I don't actually know if I ever knew how many Manks there were on each pillar or what, but I think there's, like, 2 or 3. Per pillar. I could be wrong. It could be like a pool of monsters. You know what? In fact, I can just look at the map right now. Okay, so they're different closets over there, I think. That's the one secret, is just a Berserk kit on a very easily jumpable cube or pillar. Cube pillar. Imagine. This section can be pretty tricky. There's 3 of these guys here, and sometimes, you know, they just... It's really easy to take it safely, but like at the same time, taking it safely kind of just... It feels so ugly. So I'm trying to like speed it up a little bit, but you can definitely get really screwed here if you get unlucky. But there's just so much cell ammo that you can kind of afford to play poorly and still like not have too much of a problem. Here, this kind of went really badly. Like it looks really it looks pretty decent, but then I switched a little early. I almost got killed multiple times, but like it's like a narrowly avoiding certain demise there, so it looked pretty decent. But like I definitely it did not go the way I had planned. So let's just put it that way. Now here's a really difficult section. There's a lot of archviles here. There's a lot of big monsters that come up after this Kako horde. So in an individual map recording, I would probably run to activate the next section. But in this run, I'm just choosing it. Take it easy. Let's kill the Kakos first and then deal with the next section. I believe it's also possible. I want to say that there's like a spider mastermind or some enemy that can refuse to teleport in if the Kakos kind of go in a certain direction, I think. So that's another reason why I'm deciding to kill these Kakos early, even though it is a lot slower. And then when you get the key, more guys show up. Yeah, I think this is the Spider Mastermind. There's two of them, and I think one of them can just get permanently stuck in the monster closet. I'm not sure if they'll teleport in eventually, but I remember when I was doing the individual map run, I had that issue a couple times, so I wanted to just take it easy. And again, there's a lot of archviles here. You can really easily get overwhelmed. And then they also start bringing revenants back, Kako demons back. It can be a huge deal. But there's really just so much cell ammo that it's not that big of a deal. You just have to kind of make sure that you're in areas where it's like you can easily kind of dodge when you need to. I love the thing about archviles is they don't really care about Z height, so sometimes corpses fall off ledges and then they get resurrected like in the floor area, so you got to make sure you kill this guy. But again, there's just so much cell ammo, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, that's Glaive 2. There are other WODs in the Glaive series and other WODs created by Glaive, but I haven't played them all. And I'm doing these commentaries in no particular order. So again, if you have seen it could be an individual map demo if you want me to do more of those. But right now I'm just working on the movies here. But I'm trying to go back and do some more commentary tracks on all my movie runs. And for those of you that, again, what does movie mean? It just means multi-level Doom speedrun. So, in this case, full WODs or, episodes or anything like that. But again, Glaive 2, there you go. And I'll see you later. Goodbye.